Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2025. 2024 has come and gone, and with another new year starting, that means we have another full year of film releases to look forward to. And in this video, I'm just going to give you my personal top 10 films I'm most looking forward to this year. Now, this doesn't mean these are the only 10 films I'm looking forward to. These are just the ones that I'm like super duper excited. And going through this list of films coming out this year, it got kind of tough to narrow it down to just 10 because 2025 seems like it's going to be a huge year for films. And for the record, my next video will be my top 10 of 2024. So be on the lookout for that. But before we go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. We're getting closer and closer to 300 subscribers, so if you're new here, please consider subscribing. You would absolutely make my day. And if you're not new here, consider sharing this video around with any friends or family. That could really help the channel grow. First, I want to get into a couple of honorable mentions. Like I said, it was really tough to narrow this down to just 10. So here's just a few other honorable mentions that I just want to mention real quick. I'm really looking forward to Elio. That's the new film from Pixar. I love Pixar. They do a great job, so I'm excited to see what they have for us next. I was the biggest fan of the whole new Jurassic World trilogy, but Jurassic World Rebirth is hard for me not to be excited for. Megan 2.0 is another one I'm kind of excited for. The first one sort of came out of nowhere, kind of took the world by storm for a little bit, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie, and I'm excited to see what they have for us next. The Running Man starring Glenn Powell, I'm excited for that. I'm basically going to be showing up for anything Glenn Powell going forward. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, that's supposed to come out sometime this year, and I mean, Guillermo del Toro, Frankenstein, put those two together and you can kind of see why I would be excited for that. The Naked Gun remake with Liam Neeson. That's one that might not appear on a ton of these lists, but I'm very excited for that. I really like The Naked Gun. I think it's just a really funny parody movie. And then for them to do it again, but with Liam Neeson, I think that has a ton of potential. Liam Neeson is like sneaky hilarious. Black Phone 2 is another horror sequel coming out this year that I'm also looking forward to. I really enjoyed the first one, and so I'm excited to see what they have for the next one. The next honorable mention I want to bring up real quick is The Housemaid. That is based on a book by the same name, and it is a book that my wife has read. From what she has told me about it, it has an interesting premise, has an interesting idea, so that's at least made it be in my honorable mentions. And then my last one in the honorable mentions section, I'm going to have to say Avatar Fire and Ash. That's not in my top 10 because I honestly think the first two Avatar films are overrated. I mean, you can yell at me about that if you want. I just don't think the actual stories are all that good. Now, what they've done with visual effects, like the improvements they've made and just the steps they've taken with those films is incredibly impressive. Like it's game changing. And so that's why it's on my honorable mentions list. I'm hoping that the story engages me a little bit more, but I'm very interested to see what James Cameron can do visually. I know it's a lot for honorable mentions, but I just got to say, like, seems like there's going to be a ton of big films coming out in 2025, and I'm super excited. I think that's kind of refreshing because I feel like coming from 2024, maybe the writer's strike had a little bit of effect, but I didn't really find myself drawn to a ton of films last year. But coming in at number 10 on my top most anticipated films is 28 Years Later. 28 Years Later has Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ralph Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, Jodie Comer. It has a really good cast. Cillian Murphy is a producer behind it. Danny Boyle is directing this. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are writing this. There's just so much talent here. And to kind of continue the story from 28 days later, 28 weeks later, this is just one I'm super excited about. I think just kind of IP and the talent combination is something that just makes me so incredibly excited. This is coming out on June 20th, so we're about 6 months away, but I thought the first trailer was very, very good, and I'm just super excited to kind of dive back into this world. Coming in at number 9 on my list is Lilo and Stitch, coming out May 23rd. I know some people are getting tired of the live action Disney remakes, and I mean, maybe that's part of the reason I'm not necessarily excited for Snow White. I don't necessarily think what we're seeing from Snow White is that interesting, but on the other hand, I loved Lilo and Stitch as a kid. That was one of the first like Disney movies I remember watching a lot. I remember watching the show a lot on Disney Channel. So for people around my age, this is kind of like a nostalgia hit, but I like everything I've seen from it so far. Granted, there's not a ton, but the design of Stitch is one thing that's important, and I thought they absolutely nailed it. I think this is just a great story, and I'd love to see what they can do with this, really kind of expanding upon the original. I think this has a potential to make a ton of money at the box office, and I'm excited to see this whenever it comes out. This might have to be a double feature because there's another film that may or may not be appearing on this list that is coming out the same day. So I'm interested to see kind of how that battle ends up going. Number 8 on my list, coming out on Valentine's Day, which is only about a month away, is Captain America Brave New World. Captain America Brave New World, I think looks really good. I know some people might disagree, but I've really enjoyed the trailers. I've really enjoyed everything we've seen from it so far. I think it looks like it's going back to kind of the Winter Soldier style of Marvel film, and that's exactly what they're going for. The only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is because there are rumors and reports of massive rewrites and massive reshoots. Reshoots don't necessarily mean things are going bad because a lot of films now, especially big films, plan for reshoots, but these are more than just planned reshoots, according to the rumors. But again, this could still be a good thing, even if they are massive rewrites, because that was after Bob Iger gave Kevin Feige more control back. I really like Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson. I think Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross is great casting. And I love how this seems like it's going to be tying in some loose threads in the MCU with the leader. Looks like we're going to be going into maybe some like adamantium stuff with Tiamat, another loose thread from the Eternals. So I'm really excited to see what this can do for the MCU, and I feel like this might be just like a fun spy thriller, kind of like The Winter Soldier. And The Winter Soldier is one of my favorite Marvel movies, so that's why it's on my list. Coming in at number 7 is Mickey 17, coming out on March 7th. Mickey 17 is directed by Bong Joon-ho, who directed the Oscar-winning film Parasite, which automatically that gets me excited. But it also stars Robert Pattinson, Toni Collette, and Steven Yeun. Mark Ruffalo's in there, Naomi Ackie's in there. And just the idea of this film just is the idea of this film is so interesting, and for this to be coming from an Oscar-winning director just makes me even more excited. If you remember back a year ago on my most anticipated of 2024, this was on my top 10 because it was supposed to come out last year. So it only makes sense that it still stays on my top 10 most anticipated. But now we actually have a trailer, and I love the trailer. Has Robert Pattinson doing a funny voice. This seems like it's going to be like a really fun and interesting kind of dark comedy. This one's actually being adapted from a novel, and it follows Robert Pattinson as an expendable, which is a disposable crew member on a space mission. He was selected for a dangerous task because he can be renewed if his body dies, with his memories largely intact. That's just something that sounds so interesting to me. And again, with the talent behind it, I'm so excited for this film. Number 6 on my list is Ballerina, coming out June 6th. This is starring Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves. I mean, there's not really a ton to explain why I'm super excited for this. I absolutely love the John Wick franchise, and this is just expanding upon it. This is just basically more John Wick, and you throw in Ana de Armas. Like, that's a lot of fun. That's all you need to say to get me excited. John Wick has become like the premier action franchise, and I'm here for it. I'm gonna be here for the ballerina day one. Coming in at number 5 on my list is Thunderbolts, coming out on May 2nd. This is a film where I haven't really heard a ton of people talk about this, but I really, really like the trailer we got. And of course, the cast is incredible. You got Sebastian Stan coming back as the Winter Soldier, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova. Like, a lot of these kind of misfit characters coming together, forming a team. And we know Sentry is going to be in this, Lewis Pullman. We really don't know a ton of story details here, but I'm very, very excited. Just the whole idea of this. And again, this seems like another film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that is getting back more on track. I think this film can potentially have a big impact on the MCU. I'm excited to see what it does to move the story forward. And with some of these more side characters coming together in their own film, I'm excited to see these characters fleshed out a little bit more. Coming in at number 4 on my list is Sinners, coming out April 18th. This is written and directed by Ryan Coogler. It stars Michael B. Jordan, Jack O'Connell, Haley Steinfeld. And this is another film where the talent behind this just gets me excited. You say these names together, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm excited to see whatever they do, because anytime Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan get together, it's just like magic. The premise behind this film is that twin brothers who are trying to leave their troubled lives behind them return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. I mean, it's kind of like a supernatural horror drama thriller from Ryan Coogler with Michael B. Jordan, and I'm all here for it. I mean, from what I understand, it's vampires, which is a lot of fun. I'm very, very excited to see Ryan Coogler's take on this, and he always does such a good job with characters. And so you take this kind of supernatural horror theming and you add Ryan Coogler's storytelling, and automatically that bumps it way up the list for me. At number 3 on my list is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, coming out May 23rd. And yes, this is the film I was talking about earlier. This is coming out the same weekend as Lilo and Stitch. We have the first trailer for this film, and I really like this trailer. The trailer did its job. It got me more excited for this film, which I was already super excited for it because I have come to absolutely love this Mission Impossible franchise. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning was one of my favorite films of that year. They've just really found their stride here with the Mission Impossible films, and they all recently have just been incredible, incredible films. Not only just because of action spectacle, but just because of the fun and the thrill of it, and the story is interesting. You're really starting to kind of just put pressure on these characters. We're seeing their actions and seeing what happens, and their choices have consequences. Christopher McQuarrie is back as the director on this one, and that's only good news. This does appear to be the final Mission Impossible, at least for Tom Cruise. That's what all the rumors are saying, so we'll see about that. But if they really are treating this as the end, and if this really is the conclusion of this story, especially the story for Ethan Hunt, I think you can expect an absolute fantastic film. So that's why I'm super, super excited for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Coming in at number 2 on my list is Fantastic Four: First Steps, coming out July 25th. I'm going to come right out and say that we have not ever had a good Fantastic Four film. And with the talent behind this, not only behind the camera, but in front of it, this just makes me so incredibly excited for this. I know that Kevin Feige is going to get this right. That's what he has been wanting to do. He says if we introduce these characters, Fantastic Four, the X-Men. We have to get it right, and I believe he's going to do that. We have Matt Shakman as the director on this. He is one of the creative forces behind WandaVision, which is maybe the best TV thing that Marvel's ever done. Of course, we have Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as the Thing, Julia Garner as Shala Ball, Silver Surfer, and Ralph Ineson, one of the best voices in Hollywood, as Galactus. This is going to take place in a different universe than the 616 universe of our normal MCU. So this is going to have a bit of the multiverse saga storytelling involved, but everything I've seen from the set photos to kind of like the concept footage that they had at Comic-Con, just everything that the cast and crew have been saying, I think this film is going to be really, really special. And this is going to be something completely different for the MCU. And so I feel like even if you're somebody who maybe is burnt out a little bit on MCU stuff, I think this would be a great point to come back in. I don't know how much money this is going to make because, like I said, it has the baggage of the other Fantastic Four films, which are not good. But I think that this is going to be a great introduction for the Fantastic Four into the MCU. And I'm so excited to see Matt Shakman's vision. The number one film I'm most looking forward to this year is Superman, coming out on July 11th. There's so many reasons why I'm excited for this. And if you've noticed kind of a running theme throughout my top 10 most anticipated, the films I'm super excited about, I'm excited about because there's a lot of talent behind it. And Superman is no exception. We got David Cornsweet as Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. And then, of course, you got writer and director James Gunn, which I think he's just an incredibly talented writer and director. He has proven that he understands characters. He understands how to make you care about these characters. And that's what some people need for Superman. I think he's approaching this in the right way. And can I just mention, I absolutely loved that first trailer. I love everything I'm hearing about it. And another reason to be excited for this film is that it's a brand new start. Yes, I know technically the new DC universe started with Creature Commandos, but I kind of consider that a little bit of like a soft launch to the new DCU headed up by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Superman is the real big debut for this new universe. And so this is really going to set the tone for the rest of these stories that they're wanting to tell. There's just something so exciting about something brand new and fresh, like the beginning, this starting point for a brand new universe. I really like the direction they're going for Superman here, and I think I'm really, really going to enjoy this film. I'm so excited. I wouldn't have really pictured myself saying I'm super excited for a Superman movie like 4 or 5 years ago, because honestly, Superman wasn't my favorite character. I could like take him or leave him. It was kind of whatever. But the more I consumed more Superman media, especially Superman and Lois, the more I've really started to kind of like Superman. And from everything that's been said, everything we've seen so far, I really, really like the interpretation that we're getting from James Gunn and David Cornsweet here. So the movie I am most looking forward to this year is Superman. But that's it. That's my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2025. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Are you not looking forward to some of the ones I mentioned? Are there some that I haven't mentioned that you're super, super excited about? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what your most anticipated film of the year is. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. You can follow me on social media pretty much anywhere, @CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.